GM Farcaster. It is Tuesday, January 30th, 2024, and we are here with very special guests. We've got Adrienne Nounish Prof for 21 minutes of Farcaster News to start your day, but special guest Jesse Pollock from Base. We are so excited to have you here. Welcome, Jesse. How are you today?
I'm doing good. Yeah. Happy Tuesday.
Awesome. Happy
Having a
Tuesday.
great week. Feeling based and casted this week
Based
for
and
sure.
casted. All right. A couple of weeks ago, it was based in yellow. This week, we are based, casted, and framed. Right.
And
That's kind
framed.
of like,
Based and
yeah,
framed probably is
based
the
and
better
framed.
one. I feel like my brain is
Frames are
just like
look.
a
Frames are
frame now.
so based. So I loved this. This was a fantastical drop from
Yeah.
GV. Loved
Oh
it.
yeah.
So had to use it for my background.
Yeah, if you
Um,
want to go find it, I think it's in the base channel on Farcaster. It's a
oh, it'll
free
be in our
mint.
show notes. It'll be in
It'll
our
be in the
show
show
notes.
notes.
You can mint
Free
it. Yep.
mint. DB, super talented artist. He's
Love DB.
also part of Base Management, which is a really cool kind of like artist cultural collective on Base. So super excited to see all that.
A DAO on Nouns Builder, if you
A
will.
DAO on Nouns Builder.
There you
Shout
go.
out to Prof Werder and Nouns
Yeah, there we
Builder,
go.
who's making it possible for people to come on chain.
There you go. This is what we do. We're so excited to have you here. We've got so normally we do the show for 21 minutes. Depending on what your hard stop is, we might go a smidge longer, but let us know.
I have a
Um,
hard stop at 9, or
Perfect.
9 Pacific time. Yeah, so we
Perfect. So
got
do we.
we got
Okay.
time. We're
So we're
luxury.
gonna may roll to like 42 minutes today.
Great.
Because there's a lot of questions. But the first thing I want to start with really quick is a little bit of news. We normally do news. We're just doing like one little thing because I want to ask you about it. We've got frame feature redirect buttons coming.
Hmm.
Buttons can send users to your web page when clicked. What you can also immediately log the user into the app using the signature packet. Please leave feedback in the comments. This was from Varun yesterday. And Jesse, just so you know, like you're not seeing the cast on the screen, but I am showing it to the viewers,
Yeah, I love it.
just so you know, and that's what I'm reading. So what is your thoughts? So first, let's start with frames in general. Like this has
Yep.
been amazing. This new update that's coming this week from with the redirect, like that's amazing. And then supposedly something else even bigger on Friday. I don't know what that is. Do you know what that is? You know what that is. He knows what
Jesse knows
that
what it
is.
is. So you see the
I
look
don't
of
know.
it.
I don't know what it is. Hey, I mean,
Okay.
Did
I
you
have a
see
lot
that
of thoughts.
smirk? You don't play
I don't.
poker with Jesse. He does not have a good poker
That's
face.
I do
saw
not
that
have a good
smirk.
poker face. I do not have a good poker face, but in this case, I'll say that I don't know. I mean, and we didn't know that frames were coming on Friday. I mean, I think people maybe think that like Base knew ahead of time, but
I didn't think so,
I
yeah.
found out on Friday when the world found out, and I was just like, oh, this changed the world. Like we literally, the world there was before frames and after frames, and
Why did
once
it
I
change
realized
the
that,
world? Why do you think it changed the world? Like, what is it about it? Because let me tell you, my reaction at first was like, oh, Frank, I
Mhm,
didn't get it at all. I'm like,
mhm,
and then I started to see the application of it and I was like, oh,
yeah.
but what you knew immediately, why?
I
What was
think
it?
I think it's more obvious from the builder perspective because like you can kind of think about this as a pipeline. It's like people have to build the frames in order for them to show up for consumers to use them to get them. But I think from a builder perspective, what pretty immediately clicked for me was like, oh, this is a way I can let anyone build a really simple on-chain app and get distribution through a social feed. That is one click. And like that just wasn't really possible before. Like you could kind of have people click out and go through a bunch of steps, but that integration of like social feed plus a fully open permissionless app platform where people can build on-chain apps is just incredibly potent, and it hasn't ever really existed. Not with any substantive distribution, not with any substantive like community of builders who are excited about kind of contributing to that. And so I think once I saw that, I was like, oh, here we go. Like this is, I tweeted, I think like a couple hours after I launched it. And I know maybe it was when Dan opened it up for US signups. I said, it's
Oh,
happening. And like, that's the way I feel like ever since Friday. I think I've been saying for a year, like at some point we're going to hit an inflection point where, this stops being kind of flat growth forever and it starts being classical product growth, which is exponential until the whole world comes on chain. And it just happened. Like it was Friday. It was Frame
wow.
Friday. And here we go, everyone. There's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be bumps, but I really think that like we've kind of crossed the threshold where we're going to start to see really significant consumer growth on chain, and a lot of it's going to be happening on Farcaster. A lot of it's going to be happening on Base. And what I'm focused on is just supporting builders to create the next generation of applications that use frames, that are built on chain, that are globally available, accessible to everyone, and open up this whole new world of possibility where we're building a global on-chain economy that's going to increase innovation, creativity, and freedom.
Amazing. Clip that, somebody, quick. Go clip it. By the way, I am wearing, I don't know if you can see that.
There you go. Yeah, you got your Base hat.
That I bought at Base Cafe with crypto and a little bit of on-chain commerce. So there you go. And by the way, I realized that I have 4 different hats that were all been purchased on Base with crypto.
Yeah, and the first ones weren't Base. Those were just the on-chain hats, right?
On-chain
hats.
Hats.
That wasn't even Base. That was just someone during on-chain summer built an on-chain hat product. But yeah, I mean, we've been like trialing for the last 9 months on-chain commerce on Base. And people saw the cookie thing yesterday. That's using Coinbase Commerce. Like all of the learnings that we've had from 9 months of being like, how do we get people to pay for coffee and hats at the Base store in like events is kind of translated back into those products. And now people are starting to actually be able to use them, and frames kind of fit it all together. Adrienne, I know you wanted to say something. I also have a thought on the redirect thing, which we started at, so we can come back to that, but I'll let Adrienne go.
Too much. Too many different, we have to come back to cookies.
Yes, we have to come back to cookies because that blew my mind. And I was like, I don't know why I didn't pull the link, but we'll put it in the show notes, but go back. Go ahead.
But I I have 30 questions that people on Farcaster wanted me to ask you, and I don't no intention of reading them all, but
I'm ready.
I'm TLDR, wanted to ask also what is it you saw in frames that you instantly jumped on? So you just answered that. So that was already answered and very well. But Noor was asking, his first was can you build an entire app with the sophistication of Warpcast on frames? And my immediate answer is no, not now, right? I
don't know.
I wonder when you're talking, when you see it as this is, so can you just paint a picture of, and obviously frames have to be built out and new features, but is it the kind of fully featured apps?
And I think this also goes back to Prof's news on the redirect stuff, which is I think what we're seeing right now is the MVP, the minimum viable product of frames. And I think this is a huge strength of the Farcaster team. They ship. I think Dan said that they thought of the idea for frames last week and they shipped it by Friday. And I think the way they ship is super incremental and iterative and trying to find product market fit. And so I think their thought was basically let's get something out that can let people start experimenting with this and then expand the kind of functionality as we go. And so, redirects is going to open up a ton more from being able to log people into apps, being able to kind of configure a wallet that you can spend out of. There's a bunch of things that's going to make possible. It's not going to be everything. And people are going to keep having to hack around things, but I fully expect that, where we're going is you can build fully functional on-chain apps fully in a frame. Now, I do think that there's kind of 2 different components of this. There's going to be the frame apps, which I think are mostly going to be mini apps. And I would think about them as kind of use case specific, where it's you're going to be able to buy things, you're going to be able to mint things, you're going to be able to tip, you're going to be able to send money, you're going to be able to do all of the things, almost the verbs. And then I do think that that's going to be separate from kind of the clients that enable you to do the verbs. So I would think about Warpcast is a client that lets you do the verbs. Coinbase and Coinbase Wallet have historically been clients that let you do the verbs. Those verbs are buy and sell historically, and they weren't frames, but it's the same sort of thing. And so I don't think that you're not going to build a client in a frame. That's just kind of maybe I'm sure someone will do it. It's frameception, but I do think that we're going to see kind of those 2 different kind of classes of experiences, where one's a client which contains a bunch of frames, and then which are kind of more general piece of infrastructure and kind of a tool for consumers, and then the frames themselves, which are apps. And so on Base, what we're really focused on is making it really freaking easy for people to build clients. Making it really easy for people to build frames. And then those frames will fit into every client. And then kind of on the other side, I'm having a bunch of conversations with folks at Coinbase and other big organizations about, okay, how do you expose frames as the client so that we can get more distribution for frames, so there's more places people can use apps. So we open up kind of more of this possibility space of people being able to build on chain in a really powerful way.
That's amazing. And by the way, you keep saying verbs, and I just wanted to give a shout out to Noun. So, Jesse's also a nouner, so
I'm a nouner, yeah, for sure.
Had to give a little shout out. So that's. Can we circle back to cookies real quick? Because I bought 6 boxes of Thin Mints last night and a frame, and that was amazing.
Blew your mind.
Like, I was like, boom, boom. I was like, I am doing this, and it was. The only thing I had to do was make sure I had enough USDC in my wallet, which I didn't at the time. But other than that, so that was the one thing. If I could just do something a little easier there, but I mean,
just going to keep getting better and better. I paid with DGen.
Experience. It was such a fantastic. People were paying in DGen. I was like, this is going to be DGen Cookie Day. It's going to be the new Bitcoin Pizza Day. It's going to be the new Bitcoin Pizza Day.
I thought that was really remarkable. That, I mean, and this is just so illustrative of the power of crypto that, like, they built this frame where you could buy cookies and plugged it into Coinbase Commerce, which, we've spent literally the last year, I spent working with the Coinbase Commerce team to rewrite Coinbase Commerce on chain, on base, so that it could handle any currencies that came in. People could pay with whatever they want. It swaps through Uniswap and settles to USDC on base. And then what that enabled
Can you just back up and say that one more time? Well, how does that process work?
Say that
one more time
so
everybody gets that.
Coinbase Commerce has been around for probably like 2017, 2018. And it's always been off chain. So like it let you accept crypto, but like all of the settlement was off chain. We did like back end like conversion of like Ethereum to dollars in a custodial account, or Bitcoin to dollars. There's a ton of overhead. We had to like move all these funds around. And so about a year ago, Lauren Dowling, who runs commerce at Coinbase, started working on an idea to rewrite commerce as an on-chain protocol that could be deployed across every network. And so the version of commerce that people are using today is that new version, which we're gradually migrating everyone over to. And what it does is, before with commerce, we had to support every currency that people could pay with manually. You had to go in and like build a whole process. Now with commerce, you can pay in any currency. It's a smart contract on chain, on base, and other EVM networks. When you pay, we settle it through Uniswap. So we convert DGen to USD and we pay it out to the merchant. And all of that is like 500 lines of code, 300 lines of code. And it's massively reduced costs for us running the service. It's massively widened what you can pay with. It's made it massively more scalable to scale across all these different chains where people have assets. And then it's really purpose built to integrate into experiences like this, because it's fully on chain. You can pay with your existing on chain wallet, etc. And so I just think it's such an incredible example of like, people are going to look at frames and be like, overnight success. Like, this is not an overnight success. Dan has been grinding on Farcaster for 3 years to build the ecosystem of builders and the technology to get here. Dan and Varun and the whole Farcaster team. Like, Base and Coinbase and others have been building for literally a decade to create the infrastructure that enables us to have these experiences. And now the reason why it feels like it's an overnight success is because all of it is just clicking in place. And when it clicks in place, it's like, oh, these things were literally built to be together because they're all built on chain, all built in this composable way, and all built with this mentality of how do we bring the world on chain and create a new future.
And with a lot of focus and on that in particular. So that's like really your focus. And then with Dan and Varun, their focus has been the QDAO, like the quality daily active users, and having that focus, these things are coming together perfectly.
And credit to Dan and Varun, the number one goal at Base right now is QMTA, which is our version of QDAO. We don't look at it daily, and we don't call them users. We call them addresses because we have less visibility, but we look at quality monthly transacting addresses, which is basically a bunch of filters that we look at to say, hey, who are the real transactors who are not just kind of farming or botting, but are actually doing substantive things like paying for cookies on chain. And we're just trying to grow that. And I think one of the things that's been really interesting is really just in the last few months, have we been able to start to see like, oh, this is now growing consistently. It's happening.
Very cool.
And one other thing that I'll say is just like on the kind of how we got here, like I've worked with Dan and Varun. When I joined Coinbase, Varun hired me. Varun was my manager.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so
That's so
I met
cool.
Varun in the hiring process. Varun was my manager. Dan was my, he was kind of the general manager of our consumer business when I was head of engineering for the business, along with Zach, who now runs this company called Bridge. And so, we've all been building together in one form or another since. Dan and Varun since 2015, I think, when they both joined Coinbase, and maybe Dan was 2014, and me since 2017. And I think one of the things that gets me really excited, and I tweeted this the other day, or casted this the other day, is like, we're still building together. Now it's just decentralized. We're building with, I'm building base and frames. And then like Linda, who also was there, Linda G is building Bounty Caster, which we use to do the grants. And Jacob, who I worked with for a long time, is building Zorro, which does all the NFT minting. And so, people say
Coinbase Mafia. I've said this a million times.
I hate the Coinbase Mafia. I've been trying
it's true.
We're all based. That's the thing. It's like, there's a culture, there's a mentality, we have been building this together for a decade now. And here we are in a huge decentralized world that's totally new. And we all just love building together. And there's obviously tons of other people we love building with, but it's so cool to see that kind of manifest almost a decade later. Adrienne, I'm sorry. I just keep talking.
It's amazing.
Well, you're here. We're going to get more viewers today because of you. People want to hear from you. So they get enough of me.
They get enough of us.
I just have to say, it's just by the way, I'm the corny one of the crowd, but it's a really, really beautiful thing.
It is.
And
so beautiful.
It is a theme that has come up on the show a lot, which we do talk about the Coinbase Mafia. I want someone to draw the diagram.
I just want the diagram, like the PayPal.
Yeah, because it's cool to.
But it's
to
the
just
nice
imagine.
Mafia. It's the nice ones. The Mafia with heart, if you will.
But we need a better name.
That's a Coinbase cabal.
There we go. That works.
It's not that.
Although strength,
no, definitely not that.
But what comes up? No, but the theme, Jesse, when you say it's so cool now that you're all actually still working together. So it's not just incubated in Coinbase and then went and followed your passions and went on to success. It's separated. And the theme over the last few weeks that we've been talking about is Farcaster, the new YC. Mm-hmm. And what we keep saying is it's not because it's permissionless. Mm-hmm. So it's not, you don't have to ask for permission. So yes, there's all these Coinbase people that I'm just now getting to know and love you all because you all have a good sensibility in terms of how to build and this, kind of mixing the practicality without giving up on the idealism and the ideals. So, but you take someone like me, I'm not part of the mafia, came in from nowhere, but you can contribute permissionlessly.
You can contribute. And it's open. And
then you get
7 years from now, we're all going to be looking back and we're going to be like, wow, the Farcaster Mafia, right? Remember the people who were here at the beginning and who spent, 2 years building Farcaster before anyone else cared. And I think this is the beautiful thing that I kind of feel like this collection of people who worked at Coinbase are the kind of prototype of is Coinbase, the people who worked at Coinbase and are now here are kind of the first example of a decentralized ecosystem of people coming together who all have some level of alignment and experience working together and then go on to create a bunch of decentralized interlocking things that make the world a better place. And I think Farcaster, you can almost think as the next iteration where it's none of us work at the same company, but we're all working on the same thing in a lot of ways. And we're all contributing our own different skills with the same goal, with the same vision. And, 7 years from now, we're going to all look back and we're all going to be doing different things. And maybe there'll be a new thing that we're all working on together. And we're going to be like, wow, aren't we so glad that we were there together, experiencing that and building this shared narrative and the shared culture and the shared set of values, which now has been so formative on who we are and what we're able to create next. And I think that's it's the most beautiful thing in the world. Getting to work together with people and create something special is just there's nothing better.
Nothing better.
So in 2015, I wasn't in crypto yet, but I was working for a Web2 SaaS company that was in the learning space. And we did a lot of future of work. So even in the very corporate space, we talked about the future of work being decentralized and skills-based and global. So it
Here we
was
are.
all about education. You get your skills and you contribute. And it was a lot of kind of, gig portfolio, project-based, loosely organized, and using technology to organize. So I think about what Linda's doing with Bountycaster. And it's like when you...
And we have Linda on Friday, so I can't wait to talk to her about all this too. So
love Linda.
Yeah,
it's just cool to see when you say, "Oh, this is what the future is going to be," but then you're living it, and it's like, "Oh yeah, we're here."
Right, we're kind of right. Always takes a little longer than I expect. I'm usually like, "Oh, it's happening next year." Takes a little longer.
We're not.
I definitely didn't think it would take 10 years to get to where we are.
I think
when
big
I started,
credit to Brian Armstrong for creating that culture and protecting that culture, even when he's getting criticized for it.
Totally.
And realizing, a couple of years down the road, you can look back and go, oh yeah, that was the right move. Like you are focused on the right thing and just hiring. And I think it says a lot about the importance of hiring as a founder.
Yeah.
Too.
Totally.
Yeah.
So grateful to Brian. I mean, we're so lucky to have him as a whole ecosystem. But I feel super, super blessed for all of his leadership at Coinbase, and really Base wouldn't have been possible without Brian, who's kind of supported us. The whole Coinbase leadership supported us at every stand with crypto.
Hold on.
You love it. He and folks at Coinbase have been working on creating a more economic freedom for the world with crypto for 12 years now, and have been totally steadfast in that belief and what it takes, and unwilling to waver. And that is just such a huge gift to the world, and obviously to our ecosystem. So I'm so grateful.
So I wanted to just jump back a little bit to Frame Friday, which we're going to call it that forever. And I was literally I couldn't sleep. I'm up.
I couldn't sleep.
On my
I haven't
phone,
slept in
on my
4 days.
And I'm not doing anything. I'm not developing. I can't create a frame. So, but I'm watching everybody so quickly put things out. And then Jacopo, I'm not sure how to say his name. Launches the NFT, the VR, the NFT. What was your were you involved in helping that come to life, or did you just see it and go, oh my God, this is really cool? What were your thoughts on that?
I mean, I saw Frames launch and it clicked in my head. It was like, this is it, go. And I just, I had a full day of meetings on Friday. And so I was in meetings, and then in between meetings, just doing what I do, which is be kind of relentlessly in touch with builders. And those are builders inside of Base and Coinbase, but also in the broader ecosystem.
I can attest. I get DMs out of the blue when you see something and you're like, hey, can you check? I'm like, yep, right on it.
So first thing I did was I reached out to, because I've known Linda forever, and I've been talking with Linda about what are we going to, Bountycaster, you can do payouts on Base, and we've been talking about what are we going to do for an on-chain bit daily with Bountycaster, and immediately I was like, oh, we got to do grants for Frames. And so I reached out to our grants team and was like, hey guys, we've been looking for something to do with Bountycaster, ship grants right now. Don't wait, because it's a big company, things can take weeks if you wait. I was like, do not wait, ship grants by the end of the day. It has to get out. And they shipped it, by whatever, 4 p.m. Pacific time or something like that. And so I was like, okay, now we're going to have that funding mechanism. And then I'm just anyone who's posting anything on Farcaster, I'm just reaching out being like, how can I help?
And then you started a group chat.
And then I started a group chat because a lot of people want to do it. And I was like, okay, a lot of people are thinking how can we all work together? And, Jacopo is someone who we've been working with for probably 6 months, 9 months. He's built all the commerce experiences for Base Cafe. I met him originally. Yeah. So it's all powered by Slice. I met him originally in ETHCC, and I was just like, this guy. He reached out, I think, and I was trying to meet with builders because it was just the Base testnet, and he reached out, and we went on a walk. And I meet with so many people, all day, every day. I'm meeting with people, I'm telegramming with people, and there's just some people that you meet, and you're like, this is a builder. This person gets it. They are just hungry, they're scrappy, they're ready to do the right thing. And Jacopo is the greatest example of that. I mean, he's built Slice as a one-person team for 9 months and made it all work for all these crazy commerce things we've done in person and online. And so I I forget exactly. I think he maybe reached out to me, or I don't know. We got connected on Friday and he just started telling me about what he was doing. I was like, okay, like, let me know how I can help. And he was off to the races. So I did very little there. He just kind of blew it up, and then I, blew it up. I have a lot of followers on Farcaster too, and Base now has a huge distribution because I think the Base channel went from adding 50 people a day to 500 people a day to 1,500 people a day right now.
You're like number 5 on the list now. So
yeah, number 5 on the list.
Yeah, of channels. Like as of this past week, I was just going to grab it, but
yeah.
I think you're only getting beat by like DGen and the brand new Frames channel.
Yeah, DGen Frames, and I think it's DGen Frames, Farcaster,
Flames was like
maybe Warpcast, and
number
Base.
2. It's been up for like 4 days.
And Commerce, I think, because of Jacopo's post.
Yep,
but
Commerce is getting big. Yep.
So I mean, all credit to Jacopo. Did an incredible job. And then for me on Frame Friday, it was just like I actually flew. So Frame Friday, I had a full day of meetings. I was at Real World Ethereum, which is an awesome event that Daimo put on, who's been building on Base, and we were talking about kind of how is Ethereum going to impact the real world. I gave a 10-minute talk, and I'm really, really excited about it. It's probably my favorite talk I've given. So we'll share it, I think, later this week. And then I got on a plane to go skiing for the weekend, and I was just like on the plane, waiting for cars, in the cars, just on my phone.
You posted
trying
a
to help
skiing picture, but at the same time, I'm seeing you on Warpcast, like setting up all these things. I'm like, is he skiing or is he doing that? I'm confused. Like, what is happening?
Yeah, well, it's like, one of the great things about skiing is you can work all the way up the chairlift, and then you can think all the way down about what you should be doing, and then you can work all the way up and then think all the way down. And so it's pretty perfect. It was support for us.
Create a meme like that for me, please. Just we need a little Jesse in his face.
Like Jesse,
just going around in a circle.
There was a really funny one that
I saw the picture with your punk. I just thought that was hilarious. Skiing. Like,
I gotta find this one. I don't know if Base God is listening, but there's this meme called Base God, which honestly, the lore in it is incredible, and they it's a whole thing. People should go look at it. Okay, but
we'll grab it after and put it in the show.
I was in the Telegram, and they're like building culture, and they create hilarious memes, like the funniest memes I've ever seen, and they've just been posting them in the Telegram and tweeting them, and I was going up and coming back down and thinking, and going up and coming back down and thinking. And one of the times when I was coming back down and thinking, I was like, they have a whole set of commandments which are like the religious commandments of Base God. And I was coming back down, and I was thinking, man, they're creating all this content, and it's all so beautiful and so community building, but it's all off chain. How can I help them get on chain? I was like, oh, maybe we should have a new commandment. They should have a new commandment that's thou shalt be on chain. And so I posted that in their little Telegram group. I was like, hey guys, I was thinking about this more. Like, I think that maybe it would be useful to add a thou shalt be on chain commandment, because that will really drive people to start to create more on chain and join Farcaster and do all these things in this new technology world that we're living in. And then they created a hilarious meme, which is like me skiing, and then like me thinking, it's like, oh, I should tell Base God to add a new commandment, which is like literally what happened. It's like ski up, so ski down. Hilarious.
That's so funny. By the way, we also believe thou shalt be on chain.
Thou shalt be on chain.
Shall on chain. So we stream on Unlonely.
We mint on Zora. We post on Farcaster.
Yeah.
And so I mean, the thing that I'll say about that is, like, A, it's good to use these tools, but B, the thing that I've seen consistently is like the people who use the tools actually understand what to build, because they can see the kind of holes between the different pieces, and they can put together, oh, this is what's working, this is what's not working. And so you're both contributing to this like project, which is bringing the world on chain, and you're better positioning yourself to contribute more. And so if I had one piece of guidance for people out there who are like interested in crypto or, excited about what's happening, use on-chain products. Join Farcaster and cast instead of tweet, or tweet. I cast and tweet. Publish your NFTs, whether it's on Zora if you're more kind of like artistic, or Uplink if you're creating memes, or Sound if you're making music. like use on-chain messaging on Farcaster, build, use frames, like just do the things with the crypto. And that will open up your worldview of like, oh, this is what's working, this isn't what's working, and this is how I can help. Because at the end of the day, it's going to require all of us to help if we want to bring the world on chain.
Yeah, and I'll just adding on to that, it's like participate. It's the best. Like because I have friends that are like, I'm curious about crypto, so can you give should I get a degree in it? Should I go learn? Like, it's like, where do I learn? What books do I read first?
By the way, if you
just spit out your copy.
I teach that class, but but also no,
Prof does teach that class.
I do teach that class.
No, it's a great.
But by the way, Base
but also I
class,
dropped that at school.
That class has gotten so much better because of Base. Because instead of me just talking about it, they can actually do it. Exactly what you're saying. Because I couldn't do that before. It was too expensive on
Ethereum.
But now I can give them.
I
literally can give them 0.000, I think 0.005 to all of them, and let them do some stuff. And
there's no better teacher,
and they can do a lot with that.
No better teacher than just
doing it. By the way, and today is also
100%
Chris Dixon's book drop.
Shout it out. Rewrite Own.
Yeah.
And if you're looking for a book,
books are great. I also love books, but he wrote that kind of as like I'm not talking to crypto natives, but tech people who are somewhat interested. So I can't actually wait to read it too and kind of help my talk track.
Yeah.
And Packy dropped an article about Farcaster today too. So like just I think we're going to start bringing in more people. I mean, like at some point, I'm not crypto native. I came in from the outside and learned. So like we need these on ramps that and non-traditional, which is just like, I'm with you. It's just use it.
If we're going to bring the whole world on chain, it's going to take a lot of different on ramps for people to get here.
Yeah,
so
for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
I wanted to also talk about the hackathon that came. So bounties came up really quick, and that was you and Linda at Bountycaster getting that rolling, and then people just jumping and adding on to it with Zora and a whole bunch of others. And then Variant came in and said, let's host this hackathon. And you were like, we got the pizza. So it was like one. And then you had a room full of developers just going, and I believe is that where the cookie, I think the Girl Scout cookie thing,
I think the cookies might have come out of that. It's hard to tell because crypto is so online, on-chain, and global. But I think maybe and again, there was no coordination. I didn't reach out to Variant and be like, hey, we should sponsor hackathon. Alana was like, I'm hosting a hackathon, and I was like, that's sick. And I DM'd Alana. I was like, hey, can we send pizza? And she was like, I think it's like, can I help in some way? And she was like, you could send pizza. And I was like, cool, done. Pizza. And then we scheduled the right. Hey, shout out to Teresa on my team who made that happen. She scheduled the first pizzas, and I was like, Teresa, let's just make sure we don't have a shortage of pizza. And so she scheduled more pizzas, and of course, it led to us having, I think, way too much pizza.
Never too much pizza. But, Pizza Dow would approve. Never too much pizza.
And now, I mean, just to plug, like we're I think sending pizzas to India, to Austin, San Francisco. I think there's a few others. And if you're interested in hosting a frame hackathon anywhere in the world, let us know.
Wow.
And you got to organize it and get people there and tell us how many people are coming, but we'll send pizza. And I was talking to Daryl yesterday, who's another person on my team, and we were like, maybe we should send pizza and cookies. I feel like we got to get the cookies going too, given all the memes to nail it. So we'll see if we can make that happen.
That's amazing. Adrienne, what else you got? I know you had a list of 30,000 questions. What else exploded? What haven't we covered that is still
so many? I mean, look, a lot of the conversation I think is kind of centered on developers, and and I'm kind of the pay attention to what developers are getting excited about, and I think we nailed it. But there's a lot of people asking questions about if I'm not a developer, how do I get involved with frames? Are there do you need to be a developer this or kind of, so I don't know if you have any advice for people who are frame curious.
Yeah, totally. Well, I mean, it's always worth anchoring. I think that we're 3 days in. And so when you're this early and it's crazy, remember Frame Friday, 3 years ago.
Remember Frame Friday? This is what we say every time we come on here. 700 100 years ago when we started the show back in September.
Yeah,
That's how it feels. Yeah.
It's been a long few days, but I think in this, like right now, I feel like we're kind of in the primordial soup of this, where people are just like trying to figure this out. But we're already starting to see people are building kind of like WYSIWYG, like what you see is what you get.
That's
Like
what we need.
frame builders, like I think polls are the ones that are most possible right now, and I expect that to just like keep exponentially increasing in the number of things that you can do if you're non-technical. People are going to build what you see is what you get. Frame builders for everything, for commerce, for drops, for polls, for prediction markets, for shopping, for literally everything. It's going to be like creating an Instagram post, but instead of just an Instagram post, it's going to be an interactive on-chain app that can do commerce and identity and interact with this whole economy that we're building. And so if you're not a builder, I would say like if you're not a developer, you can still be a builder if you're not a developer. This is a good thing for everyone to know. It's like we talk about builders a lot as base. We are not talking about developers exclusively. Developers are but one subset of builders who, they write code, but you can build a community. You can build a brand. You can build a network. You can build your creativity. And so I think if you're not a developer, figure out what other kind of builder you are, and then find the tools that enable you to build, whether that's, things like Uplink and Zora that let you, build your creativity, or, the WYSIWYG commerce tools that are going to let you build your business. Like just focus on finding those pieces and putting them together and being scrappy and hungry and, at the edge of what's possible.
Yeah, such a good point. And that's kind of, we've been promised a composable future. And I think, it's like every year we're getting closer and closer there. And right? You don't necessarily need to be a developer to start.
Totally.
Kind of using.
All right. We are running short on time. I know.
Yes.
Even though we ran double what we normally do.
So we could talk frames forever.
I want to do the 5 questions that we have, the lightning round. But do you have anything else, Adrienne, before, or Jesse? Do you have anything
ask Jesse
that you want to share that you have coming up? Call to actions, anything like that? Besides,
I mean, we got some good frames coming today.
Frames.
I know of stay on Farcaster today, everyone, because I know of at least one frame that I'm very excited about, that I think is going to break the internet in a good way. So keep your eyes peeled for that. And hopefully we'll get a lot of people on chain. So I'm excited about that. I mean, this week, like we're doing everything we can to help people build frames. And so if you're thinking about building a frame, please reach out. You can just direct cast me, and I'll help however I can. We have a bunch of new tooling that we've built to enable that. We're publishing guides. And if you have feedback on what could be better, what you're missing, please let me know, and we'll get it better and make it so it's not missing. And so join base channel in Farcaster, post your questions. We're here to support however we possibly can.
Is that the best way to connect, in the base channel?
I mean, you can DM me on Farcaster. Really, I mean, I think if you ask anyone, you can ask Prof Worder. I'm relentless about responding to DMs. I won't always be able to help, but I will always try and respond and at least give you an act of like, hey, I saw this, keep building. And so, you can DM me, or you can post in the base channel and someone will help you. Base channel has gone a little crazy right now, and we don't have the best modding tools. Fun fact, I'm the only mod of the base channel right now because I'm the owner. And so I wake up every morning and I go through like 50 posts of people being like not contributing in substantive ways. And I reply, hey, thanks for your post. This isn't a substantive contribution to the base channel. Please try again, or like, please, thank you. And then I hide it. And so it's a little bit hectic at times.
I believe the term is low effort reply.
This is a low effort reply. So bear with us, but we're going to get better tools this week for modding.
I think it's happening. Actually, I do think we may get better tools this week. It seems to be.
I've been talking to Dan and Varun about it. They seem to be working on it, but they got a lot of things.
So Adrienne,
the Farcaster way of like assume good intent and don't just kind of block people and just like, hey, and being transparent, like I love it.
We're going to give you a chance. Okay. We're going to give you a chance to mend your ways, but if you don't, you shall be blocked.
I mean, the thing that I'll say is like when I say that to most people, some people don't reply. 60% of people reply and be like, hey, I didn't know, sorry.
Yeah. All right.
Very
And
good.
like, cool.
I need to start
You know,
doing that for my channel. I think I'm a little
Look,
too
I will say
harsh.
this morning I woke up and I just hit all of them because I was rushing and I couldn't do it. So, it depends on where you get me. If I'm on phone,
And it
I
depends on
can't
how
copy
many.
and paste on phone. It's like it's the whole thing. I got the workflow pretty down on my computer, but on my phone it's hard.
All right, Jesse, a few lightning round questions. And
Okay.
these are
I'm ready.
questions we
They're all
we
fun.
like to ask everyone. So we hang out on a social network. That's how we know each other.
Mhm.
When did you make your first internet friend?
Oh wow, when did I make my first internet friend? That's a really good question. The first person who I would really consider an internet friend is Tess Nierson, who now is head of product at Optimism, and so she's on the super team with me. And we met in 2012 on the internet. I was an intern at BuzzFeed in New York, and I think she was an intern at Microsoft in Washington. We just like met on Twitter. She was like writing blog posts. I was writing blog posts. We got to know each other, got to become friendly, and then we both dropped out of school in March, like in kind of 2013. We both moved to San Francisco, and we became fast friends and are really close friends today. And now we get to work really closely together. We both kind of been orbiting each other in crypto for a while. Like she was at Medium, and then when I was starting a startup, and then I went to Coinbase, and she went to Chain, which got acquired by Stellar, and then she went and worked in Cosmos for a while, and then I started Base, and she was looking for what's next. And I got the opportunity to kind of like help her join Optimism, which was, really, Optimism is such a special group of people, and it's so fun to be getting to work with one of my closest friends on building this collective, which is so, new and novel and challenging, but really rewarding.
Amazing.
Literally the perfect internet friend story.
Perfect.
Yeah, I know, right? I was like,
oh,
damn.
okay.
Yeah.
Nailed it. Nailed it, Jesse.
I think another good example of like, it's not just Coinbase people, right? Like it's just people who have been building crypto for a decade at this point, who are now still here, like working together. And there is like a value, and this is the thing that I've been trying to describe, of like what's the culture of Base. I think it's not just Base; it's also like Optimism and some of these other things. I think a lot about it is there's like this value set of like we're gonna work hard. We're going to do the right thing. We're going to prioritize the team over the individual, and we're going to relentlessly believe in crypto. And like those four things, we're going to work hard. We're going to prioritize the team over crypto. We're going to team over individual. We're going to believe in crypto. And I blanked the other one I just said. Whatever.
We'll clip it.
We'll clip it. Right? Like that is what defines the people who we love building with. And that's for me when I say, oh, like I recognize you're a builder, like Prof Werder, like that's how you and I. Like I started investing and spending so much time with you because I was like, oh, me and Prof, we get it. We're in this together.
Oh, by the way, we're on the list of the weird ones. I don't know if you caught that from Jess from Seed Club. Loved it. I was like, this is a great list to be on. I was right in between you and Toady Hawk, and I'm like, that is
Let's
perfect.
Go.
Perfect. The weird ones, I'm in. Yep.
I'm moving on.
Okay.
Your favorite channel.
Couple minutes, go.
Favorite channel?
Besides Base.
I mean, I feel like I'm
Base. You can say Base.
I feel like I'm biased. I'd say Base is probably my favorite channel. Okay, actually, here's a crazy one. I think my favorite channel is DGen, which
you just made so many people happy.
I know. I will say, like, you can't clip just that part. My favorite channel is DGen because it is absolutely insane and it drives me crazy at times. And we've had so much spam on it from in Base over the last little while, which is really frustrating. But it's also just like absolutely pushing the boundaries of like what's happening, what are people doing. Jacek is such an incredible leader, I think, who is just constantly iterating and not afraid to try things, even if they create a little bit of chaos, and then like learn and tweak and iterate. And I think that like crypto is not clean, and it is a messy primordial soup. And I feel like DGen is like the soupiest soup, and what we have come out of DGen is like massive learning that can sometimes be painful, but also is so valuable for us being able to push forward while we're building. And so, you know, sometimes I have to be like, oh my God, you guys,
The chat,
what is going
chat
on?
likes the soupy soup.
Chat
They're
is
just
very
saying
happy with you.
the chatters like the soupy soup, and as soon as you tell someone not to clip you, everybody will clip you. So congrats.
The super soup is I mean, it's the soup. It's
But I
incredible.
agree. We had Jacek on the show last week, and there's
so great.
there's a lot of nuance and a lot of like just good foundational stuff happening that you
Yeah.
don't see from the nonsense on the outside.
Yeah.
You don't even know. We went from Adrienne being like, I don't want anything to do with meme coins to, okay, how do I tell me about DGen and how do I claim
Totally.
it? Like she didn't even want to claim it, the free money. Like she was like, why would I do that?
Yeah.
Like, and you had to give her a better reason than money. And
I saw Ted getting in the mix yesterday. Ted posted yesterday being like, okay, you guys, first time, whatever, like the 10 stages of denial. Yeah. But no, I feel super grateful for the primordial soup and all the stuff that people are building at the edges, which then we all get to learn from and figure out, okay, how do we take the learnings here and translate them to things that maybe are a little bit more accessible for the general population.
Okay, 3 more questions really fast. Go fast.
I was going to say, we got to wrap. Soccer or football?
I can like go a little bit over if we do go a little bit over. So we're going to keep stressing, but Adrienne can't. Okay, let's go. Okay, let's go. Here we go.
Football or soccer?
Football or soccer? I mean, I'm born, raised American. I call it soccer. I played soccer my whole life. Team sports, went all the way through college. Totally changed who I am. That said, I will not take a stance in the football versus soccer Farcaster channel debate name. There's good reasons on both sides.
No, if we're in crypto, we're global. It's football. And
I'm American, there we go.
And that is it. Okay. I'm relentlessly pro crypto and I'm therefore pro football.
I believe that.
Kiwi skin on or off? Last question.
You know, I for a long time I didn't realize that you could eat kiwis whole, and then I realized it. Hell yeah, it's tangy. It's a little weird. Like, you know, you just pop that thing in there. You know, I don't like the little butts of it. But once I got over the like, oh, this is actually it's just like apple skin. I was like, great, let's do it. Makes it better.
Amazing. Yeah. Jesse, thank you so much. This has been incredible. We have like so many things we need to like unpack. Like there was so much good stuff here. Thank you for everything you're doing to bring 1 billion people on chain and on-chain commerce and all of the things. So, and supporting the builders, like you are relentless about supporting builders. And I appreciate that more than you possibly know. So thank you so much. Adrienne, any last thoughts?
Just echoing that thanks. I mean, and not just us, but I don't think it's an accident Base has such a passionate following and promoters. And it's like very, very happy you spent time with us today.
Yeah, well, the last thing I'll say is thank you to you two. I mean, for doing this. I know how hard it is to do a daily show. It's exhausting and draining, and it's also really critical and important for creating culture. So thank you for stepping up and being the center of Farcaster from a news and conversation perspective. And then I'll just say, like, Prof, if people don't know Prof, follow Prof. Not both on Farcaster, but like in a religious sense as well. You should follow Prof. Because she
Prof. Oh my God, what are you doing, Jesse?
She is I think one of the most giving and thoughtful and kind and patient people in terms of bringing people on chain. She does it in her class that she teaches. She does it in the community building with Nouns Builder. She does it with GM Farcaster. And so I'm just so grateful for your leadership and contribution in bringing people on chain. I'm so excited to keep building together and getting everyone in the world into this new economy that we're all building together.
Thank you. I mean, we can't do it without you. We need the infrastructure and everything that Coinbase and Base are doing. We got to run, but we will be back tomorrow because we don't usually do Tuesdays, but we're doing Tuesdays. So we'll be back tomorrow for our regular 8:30 a.m. Eastern, 21 minutes Farcaster news to start your day. And apparently we will have some kind of a banger of a frame to talk about coming on Base at some point. So we'll be looking for it. Thank you again, and goodbye, everybody. We will see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. See you later.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.